When you get together with your buddies, are you the smartest person in the room? Join us for this episode of Man Talk as we talk about smart people. Okay, so I was with a bunch of guys recently, and one of my friends said, most people think they're the smartest person in the room. What do you think about that?
Most of me disagrees with that 100%. Not all of me, because there are people who do think they're smarter.
Yeah, he said that most people
Yeah, I disagree with that.
think that they know better. Does this make a difference? They know better than everyone else in the room.
Yeah, I disagree that most people. I just don't see that, because I'm just thinking about the people that I hang around with. I think that certainly there are some things that they're thinking that they know better, but most of them feel they're not the smartest person in the room. Myself, I never, or very rarely do I ever think I'm the smartest person in the room.
I don't think I ever walk into a room and go, all right.
Yeah, this is it. This is
Right, yeah. I mean, the bar's pretty low if I
so I
come in
don't understand why
smartest
he says most people will think they're the smartest person.
All right, so let me give you an example of how this could be a case. Have you ever heard anybody on social media or in real life say that all of these experts are saying this, but they're all wrong, and I, who am not an expert and don't even know everything about what they're talking about, I'm actually, I know what.
And if you don't believe me, you're
right. Like you should believe me over
right.
that.
Yeah. Well, there certainly are that way, but I don't think most people think that way.
So okay, I know somebody who was told by a physician to take a certain medication. And they're like, I'm not taking that medication. I've talked to a relative of mine, and I'm gonna take something instead. And so essentially what they're going is, you're the doctor. You've had all the training. I'm paying you to give me advice or to advise me. And because I didn't want to receive it, I think I'm smarter than you.
I'm going to take these natural supplements.
Right. And we're not anti-natural supplements, but you follow the logic of.
Yeah.
Well,
in that case, yeah. But again, that's not most people. I go back to the idea that you don't think you're the smartest person in the room.
No,
right?
No, but okay, maybe I adjust it this way. Why is it that? Would you agree with this? That the majority of people think they're better off making the decision over someone else who knows more than them.
Yeah, probably. I would say that. I just think, for instance, I know that I'm supposed to do more exercise and eat better.
Okay.
And I know that is true. I don't do it.
Okay, so you're saying you don't do it because you think you're smarter.
I'm doing it because I'm lazy. Right? I know that that's the right thing to do.
Okay, so let me push back on that.
So I don't think I'm smarter.
But by doing that, aren't you kind of non-verbally saying that I have this option A to live healthfully and to experience my best life, but actually I'm choosing B because I think this is my better life?
No, because it's not better. I don't see that as I'm being smarter. I'm being.
But isn't your action saying that it's better?
Yeah, well,
you think it's better. I'm not saying it is better.
It's in my mind. I know it's better to exercise. Yeah. I don't do it because, and there's probably multiple reasons, but it's mostly haven't made the commitment to do that.
Okay, so here's where I'm going with this. Is I had a relative who a physician told them, if you continue to live the way that you're living, you're going to die. And they basically said, fine, I think that I would enjoy my life better living this way than living the way you're telling me. And so and here's where I'm at is they thought, and maybe smarter's the word, wrong word here.
I think that's a tripping point.
They thought that their way was better than the expert's way. Like, does that change it for you?
No, because they use the word better.
Well, okay,
So the fact that I have chose not to, I mean, I exercise, so I'm not a sloth.
Right.
But
we didn't have to roll you in here.
No, that's right. And so, but I know that I could be probably healthier if I exercised more and ate better. But me choosing not to do it, I'm not choosing the better option because I know it's not the better option.
Okay, so in Isaiah 14, okay, let's go biblical here. When Lucifer, right, said he wanted his throne higher than God's throne, wasn't he in essence saying that he thought he was smarter than God?
No.
Why not?
Because he knew he wasn't smarter than God. He was just being deceptive because he wanted more power.
Who was deceiving him? He was the deceiver. He was deceiving himself, right?
He's deceiving. He was deceiving himself. I don't know that he thought he was more powerful than God. He wanted. I mean, we're smarter than God or better than God. He wanted more power than God.
See, I think. Well, okay, fair. Okay,
right,
but,
gotcha. Yeah.
Not only you got me.
I don't. Gotcha was the wrong word, right?
No, but I'm saying, like, I get that he wanted more power, but like, whenever I decide to say take control of something, what I'm really saying, and maybe this is how we need to change the phrasing, is I think I could do I think my way's better than yours. Is that different for you than I'm smarter than you? Or he's smart, like when Satan said, I want to be in control, he's essentially saying my way is better than yours. You don't think that's the same as I'm smarter than you?
I don't, because I don't see, because I just have to, again, go back to myself. I know that this is better. I'm just lazy with it. And Satan's and Lucifer's actions, maybe he did think, I don't know. Maybe he did think he was smarter than God.
I can't get into his, I don't want to get into his.
So I know he wanted more power, but whether he thought he was smarter than God or that he was better, I guess maybe better than God. He thought he was better than God.
Well, if you're watching this, put in the comments. I'd love to hear what you guys think.
Absolutely.
On this, because this is kind of interesting,
right?
To me, is because what you're bringing in this different dynamic, which is I absolutely know that I'm wrong, but I want this more, and I'm saying by saying that, aren't you by default saying I know better than? For me,
I don't know. We may have to just agree to disagree with it, but
I'm not sure what I believe, so I'm not saying we're disagreeing,
right? Because I get what you're saying, but I don't know that the choice I'm making, if I know that there's a better option, but I still choose this, that I'm choosing the right thing.
Okay, so here's what I think is, and maybe to get off of this, is. Here's what I'm thinking. I think this is a key component if you think you're wrong, right? Mm-hmm. Or if you recognize that someone is giving you truth or someone knows more than you. Mm-hmm. This is the key component. I think that you have to get to that point where you can surrender.
Absolutely. Right.
Where I think maybe the default of me thinking that I'm the smartest person in the room, if that was the case, is a problem. And I need to surrender that. And absolutely. I think probably the way that I surrender that is through relationships, because how about this? Is it possible that two people could tell you the same thing, but because you have a relationship with one, you listen to that person and you wouldn't the other? Have you ever experienced that?
Oh, yeah. Yeah. I can't think of it
right off the tip of your tongue, right?
Yeah. But that's true because I have the trust. I built the trust with somebody, and but again, even if they say that, I need to make the surrender to say, yeah, this is the better choice for me.
Well, I would argue that if you had the relationship, it would actually be multiple reasons other than simply right or wrong. I think that out of relationship, there are times where I don't particularly want to do what they're asking me to do, but because of that person,
right, I'll do it.
So there's that other component.
Yeah.
Whereas the person that I don't necessarily know, gives me information, especially on social media, right?
Right.
Like, how many times have you heard someone say something and you look at who's saying it and go, like, I'd believe that. And then later someone else say it, then you're like, maybe there's merit.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. And so when Jesus makes a statement or a command, we as humans, we have a tendency to kind of play ring around the rosy with that. We'd have discussion groups on it.
Right.
When the correct action should be, yes, Lord, and make that surrender and that commitment.
Yeah,
but a lot of times we might be in a small group or whatever it might be, and so we talk about those things and forgetting that it's actually a command from Jesus for us to do them, because he has what's best in mind for us. And so it's up to us, like you said, to surrender, commit, and then we're convicted to go that way.
No, yeah, I think so. I think that might fix the problem to your point of like, hey, I know it's the right way, but I'm a wrong way. I'm still doing it.
Right.
Is just as toxic as a position of, I hear other people telling me, giving me advice, but I'm not listening. Like, both of those, I think, starting points or areas are not necessarily good ones.
Yeah.
So if you surrender yourself to, finding out what's right.
Right. There's a text. We've been to the Bible already once, but here's one that says, "Delight yourself also in the Lord." It's found in Psalm 37:4.
Mm-hmm.
So delight yourself also in the Lord, and He shall give you the desires of your heart. And so those desires of your heart isn't the selfishness, because it actually goes back to His righteousness. He wants to give us His righteousness. That's the desires of the heart. If Jesus is in our heart. So if we delight ourselves in Him, helps us to make that commitment.
Well, I think that resolves both the initial question, right? Are you the smartest person in the room? And your point of, look, I know it's wrong, but I'm doing it anyway. This idea that God is saying, if you would just trust me, and I think surrender that, for me as a Christian, there's no doubt He's the smartest.
Oh, absolutely, yeah.
And so whether I subconsciously think I know how to do life better than him, which I think happens.
Mm-hmm.
I actually think that there are times where I got this, I know what I'm doing, at least in my experience. And then I know God is saying this. Whether I even process that I'm in rebellion or not, there are times where I take the wheel, and that's a bad call.
Mm-hmm.
Or I'm just in destruction mode, and I'm like, hey,
I don't care.
I don't care.
Yeah. And then this is the follow-up here. I just was looking down here at verse 5. It says, "Commit your way to the Lord. Trust also in Him, and He shall bring it to pass." And that it, again, is the righteousness of Christ. And so delighting in committing ourselves, surrendering our will, our smarts, if you will.
And it's possible that what he's saying in that text is, it's possible that multiple options. One is, I'll give you what you wanted because you just weren't getting it the right way, but I'll give you that. Mm-hmm. But it's also possible that I'm going to give you something that you didn't even realize you needed and wanted, and you're getting it. Mm-hmm. Like, that's really kind of intriguing.
Absolutely.
Because has that ever happened to you where you're like, man, I want this. And he's like, no. And then all of a sudden this comes out of nowhere. And you're like, oh, this is much better.
Yeah, right.
And then you're like, thank you. And that's where it's at. So, okay, so here's your challenge this week. Acknowledge that God is the smartest person in the room, which shouldn't be too crazy to do. And then surrender to Him. Find out what He's wanting in your life and surrender yourself to that will, and then just see where it takes you. I think that eventually you're going to find that His ways are always the best. Sometimes we don't see that right away, right? Mm-hmm. Like, we want that instant, we live in that, just Google it, whatever, instant Amazon generation. Mm-hmm. But sometimes He takes a little bit of time, and if you trust Him, eventually it'll come out that what you really wanted, He gave you.
Amen. Yeah. Man talk for this week. We believe in, our motto is 3 things. We trust in God. Or love God, I should say.
Trust and love him.
Trust and love.
Love God.
Trust and obey.
Yeah, that's right. There's no other
No
way.
other way.
We're going to sing now?
Love God.
Love God. Love everybody.
And then duct tape, it fixes pretty much
Fixes everything.
everything. You guys have a great week.
God bless.